You know, y'all, there was a tragedy down in Frisco, Texas. A tragedy. I think everybody agrees with that. Two families' worst nightmare. One child was murdered, another child accused of murder. I'm gonna read to you what the Austin American Statesman says about the situation. A Texas student athlete who allegedly stabbed another at a track meet admitted to doing so in self-defense, police records show. Centennial High School student Karmelo Anthony, 17, has been charged with first-degree murder after allegedly stabbing Austin Metcalf in the heart at a high school track meet at Frisco Independent School District's Kukendall Stadium. It's spelled Kuykendall Stadium. I hope I pronounced that correctly. On April the 2nd, Metcalf, also 17, was a student at Memorial High School, located 3 miles north of the crime scene. The altercation between Metcalf and Anthony occurred around 10 a.m. Police say the two were involved in a disagreement over a seat at the track meet before Anthony wielded a knife and stabbed Metcalf. Athletic trainers told first responders Metcalf was not conscious and not breathing, according to the arrest warrant affidavit obtained by USA Today. First responders performed life-saving measures on the wounded victim, from CPR to blood administration, but the team died at the scene. Y'all, this is a tragedy and this is a shame. People have tried to make a race issue out of this. I don't see it as that. I don't know, and I waited a long time to talk about this because I always know when these emergencies and these situations, from Trayvon Martin to Michael Brown to Eric Garner and so many others, first information is always wrong information. So what I understand is that they were at the track meet, started raining. Karmelo Anthony's a young black man, ran to get out of the rain. He went under the tent of the opposing team. When he was there, Austin Metcalf, young white guy, saw this guy from the opposing team under their tent, and he told him to move. Karmelo Anthony, of course, I guess he's kind of felt threatened, and you got a stand your ground law in Texas, and I guess Metcalf tried to push him out of the tent, and Karmelo said something like, "Put your hands on me, and you see what happens," and he put his hands on him and he stabbed him.
Austin told the suspect, Karmelo, that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. Not only did Karmelo go to a different school, he was under their tent wearing Centennial High clothing. Karmelo grabbed his backpack, opened it, and reached inside, telling Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." The witness told officers no one really thought Karmelo had any weapons, so Austin proceeded to touch Karmelo. Karmelo then told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Karmelo to tell him to move, and Karmelo pulled out what the witness described as a black knife, stabbing Austin once in the chest before running away. Austin began grabbing his chest, telling everyone to get help, and shortly after, he'd lose consciousness, stop breathing, and never wake up again.
This is going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. I from what I've read, I haven't seen a racial component yet because nobody called anybody, the N-word or, talked about the white boy's race. It seems to be a tragedy where two young men got together, both of them full of testosterone, and no one knew how to de-escalate the situation. Just de-escalate the situation. There's an argument, and I think it's going to lend to this. And I don't know this. I don't know. I know that Karmelo Anthony, a young black boy, weighed about 130. That's what the police report says. I do not know how big Austin Metcalf was. I don't know. If he was, I'm 230, and so if Karmelo was 130, I'm 100 pounds larger than he is. I don't know. I've heard reports, and this could be wrong, y'all. And if it's wrong, please forgive me. I heard that Austin Metcalf might have been around 250. I don't know that to be true. I've heard it, I've seen it, but I have not seen it like they had it in the police report. If that is the case, I can tell you that the jury is going to look at this and they're going to say, if this young man was 130 and this guy was 250, that just might be a problem. Either way, though, there's a tragedy. And when you get 12 people on the jury in a situation like this and it stands your ground and somebody's going to ask the question, was Karmelo so afraid for his life that he thought that he was going to receive great bodily injury from this guy? And if so, was Karmelo obligated to take an ass whooping? Some people ask that question. And then some people are going to say, no, Austin Metcalf did not have a weapon. He was not. He had not threatened him with deadly force. He didn't walk up to Karmelo and say, Karmelo, I'm going to kill you if you don't get out of this tent. And therefore, Carmelo Anthony had no right to use deadly force on him. It's going to be that. Either way it goes, I think that we all can agree on this, that both of these young men, if one had just de-escalated the situation, none of this would have happened. And that is the message that we should all take away from this. And if we take away that message, maybe something good will come out of this tragedy. Just recently, I was on a road trip to Tennessee with my children and my grandchildren. And we were on the road traveling from Maryland to Brownsville, Tennessee to visit my father and visit relatives. And we stopped in Bristol overnight and got up and got in our, and this rented transit van, big old long van. I was pulling out the parking lot, and when I pulled out, somebody started blowing their horn. And when he blew the horn, I asked, I said, is that somebody blowing the horn? And my grandson said, yeah, this white guy's back here waving. And I stopped, and he came up to my rearview mirror. He said, hey, man, you hit me. I said, I did. He said, yeah, you effing did. He cursed. Now, there's a part of me that wanted to go out and bust him right in his mouth and slam his head into the concrete. But then there's that part of me that says I'm on a road trip with my children and my grandchildren, and I don't feel like going to jail today. And this can go left real fast. De-escalate. And I said to him, sir, there's no reason for the profanity. Don't you see my family in here? I said, I'll pull around. I'll take a look at your car. We'll take care of it. Is that all right? And he started, okay. So I pulled around. I got out the car. And maybe it's the fact that when he saw that I was 6'2", 230, he kind of changed the way he was talking to me real fast. And I walked over to his car, and it was just a smudge on his bumper. And I already knew what I was going to do. Either I had insurance that would take care of it, or I would just cash out him some money, and he can go on about his way. But if he continued on the path of escalation, we could have dealt with that too. But of course, I went on the path of de-escalation first. I came out of the car in a very calm manner, not in a hostile manner. Walked to him in a very calm manner, not in a hostile manner. We looked at it. He said, oh, this is just a smudge. It's not a big deal. I'm sorry for raising my voice at you and using profanity. I said, I can understand that you were kind of flustered and that you were a little bit upset. It's all good. So we're fine here? He said, yes, we're fine. I shook his hand. He said, apologize to you for using profanity, and I apologize to your family. I said, no problem, man. I wish we could have met each other in better circumstances than this. He said, me too, Mr. Ellison. And we left. End of story. I say that because this could have gone just as left as this situation with Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. He started acting a fool. I started acting a fool. You got two fools in a parking lot fighting. Now, which one is the fool? People, I don't know how this is going to go. I do not know how this is going to go. I'm not going to try to predict it. All I know is that my heart sinks. Austin's father came out and said, this is not a race situation, don't make it one. The other side seems to be trying to make it one. We don't need that. It's not going to change the facts. And the trial is going to determine what the facts are. But if we take nothing from this sad, sad tragedy, let us try to take the Christian virtue of humbleness, not pride. De-escalation. If your brother says something wrong to you, you say something right to him. If he puts you down, you pull him up. You never give anger, vengeance, hatred. It always leads to destruction. If these two young men were guilty of anything, they were guilty of pride, they were guilty of anger. And it led maybe to both their lives, well, I know one of their lives, and maybe both their lives being destroyed forever. All right, friends, VinceEverettEllison is here. I want you to go to my website, and on my website, you're going to see a lot of great stuff, man. You're going to see that we got t-shirts, we got caps, you got my books, my documentaries, you got all kinds of stuff on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Go there. We're dropping new t-shirts, we're dropping new merchandise. My new book, The End of Tolerance, is there. The End of Tolerance. Make sure you get it, make it #1. If you got my first 3, get The End of Tolerance. It's just as good, and it's telling us we have to end our tolerance with these leftists, these Democrats. We can no longer allow them to sexually groom our children. We can no longer allow them to castrate little boys and call them little girls, run God out of the public square, take away our guns, take away our sovereignty. No longer allow it. So go on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That is VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Hit merchandise. You'll see the t-shirts. You'll see the caps. You'll see the books. You'll see the documentaries. You'll see it all. And let's keep this ball rolling. God bless you.